Hello friends, today we're going to talk about whether residential real estate is a good investment. So as you look into your real estate investing career or to get started as a real estate investor, have you ever thought about what is the best vehicle in real estate to get started with? Or what's the best one that will give me the best returns? Or maybe you've even thought about which asset class in real estate is the surest thing, is the safest. To get started, what should I do? Now, if you said residential real estate, then you're probably spot on. Even though I'm sure there's quality arguments can be made differently, residential real estate is a very powerful tool when it comes to real estate investing. And today, I want to show you exactly why. As we dive into this video, I want to break down the strategies of residential real estate by first offering data on why it is such an important asset class that has lasted the test of time when it comes to real estate investing. Secondly, I will break down actual strategies that you can use when it comes to residential real estate. And finally, show you how you can implement these strategies to get amazing returns in your real estate investing career. If you're ready, let's go. So what is residential real estate and why is it so important? First off, let's break down the categories of real estate, right? So there's typically 4 different categories when it comes to real estate. There's commercial. These are buildings of commerce. These are office buildings. Anything that is a business of commerce is usually in a commercial real estate space. Second, we have industrial, right? Whether it's a factory, whether it is a loading dock, anything that falls under that category is industrial real estate. Land, right? Whether it's agricultural or development, it's zone something or zone something else, residential or ag, land is another potential investment in real estate. And finally, residential. So what is residential real estate? Well, simply put, it's everything else besides what I just talked about, right? But breaking it down simply, it's where us and our furry friends live. And the reason it's so important is because every human needs a place to live. It provides one of the basic human needs, which is shelter. It is the American dream. Everybody wants to own a home. Why? Well, everyone wants a place that they can call their own, where they can fix it up if they want to. They know no matter what happens, they can go home. It's where their family lives. A residential home is probably one of the most important investments that any individual will make in their life. I mean, think about it for a second. Let's say that your family or somebody you knew, let's say they bought a home 20, 30 years ago. Chances are that investment that they bought 20, 30 years ago has probably doubled, maybe even tripled in price. I mean, if we're looking at someplace like Southern California, where somebody bought a home 30 years ago, the price of that home has probably skyrocketed over the last few years. Matter of fact, I was at an event the last few days and I met an individual and we're just talking. I said, hey, where are you from? He says, well, I'm from Van Nuys, California. I was like, oh, awesome. I used to do some door-to-door sales down there. How long have you lived there? He's like, oh, I bought my home back in 1998. And I was like, oh my goodness. I said, you probably bought it at a pretty good price. I remember when I was knocking doors down there that even a very small, like 1,000 square foot, 800 square foot home was ridiculously priced to what I thought, probably around $200,000, $300,000. But that same home today might even be valued at $750,000. And maybe prices have gone up or down depending on the home, but ultimately it's a good chance that the home that he bought in 1999 is now worth at least double, maybe even triple of what he bought it for back then. So that's one of the reasons residential real estate is so important. It's an investment. Although people create memories there, they live there, it's an investment that over time, they pay down the mortgage, they're going to have a huge lump sum of cash in that home that if they were to sell it, they would receive that lump sum of cash and be in a lot better financial situation. So for most people, it becomes one of the most important investments they'll ever make. So the cool thing about residential real estate, there are a ton of strategies that can be deployed when utilizing residential real estate. And some of these have just came on the market maybe the last 10, 15, 20 years. It really is an awesome asset class to understand and to know. But before we dive into those strategies, let's talk about maybe some potentially concerning news about residential real estate. So it has just been reported probably in the last 6 months that some very huge companies in the United States, BlackRock and Vanguard, are planning to purchase 50 to 70% of all residential real estate in the United States. Now that can be really scary. But it can also be exciting because what does that mean? It means the opportunity for us as real estate investors to go grab some of this asset class before it's gobbled up by these huge corporations. We might have a buying window that will allow us to get a piece of property that's going to go up in value, right? Because if the market's controlled by these big organizations, which is scary, right? They might drive up prices. And if you own a piece of that, you're going to be sitting in a very good situation. But owning them just isn't enough. Knowing what strategies to deploy can really make the difference for you. So let's jump into those really quick. The first one, and probably the easiest one to understand, is just renting it out, right? So if you own a home and you're not going to live there, most people, first thing they want to do is buy their own home first. They want to live in a residence, right? So you're already involved in residential real estate. But can you go out and buy another home? You know, in a previous episode, I talked about getting a second home and how the bank typically lets you get a second home for a lot less down payment than if it was an investment. So by getting another home or a second home, you might be able to rent that out, right? Now, obviously, the whole goal behind that is being able to rent it out for more than you're paying in all expenses included, the mortgage. And typically, most homeowners, landlords will pass those expenses of electrical, water, sewer, gas onto their tenants. And so really, there are some expenses you have, maybe even some repairs, but typically whatever you're paying in a mortgage, you want to mark that up, obviously, so you can make money on that rent. Plus, the asset's going to be growing. Plus, the renter's going to be paying down your mortgage for you with their rental payments every month. So residential real estate, just as a rental, can be a really good strategy. This was another way when I first got started in real estate. So really, my first real estate transaction ever is I bought a condo, right, that me and my wife lived in. Now, the condo was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, but had an unfinished basement with 2 more bedrooms and 1 bath. It was all framed in, but it wasn't done. And so over time, I met these individuals that were pretty good at construction. I had them finish out the basement. And they did it at a really great price, and they did a fantastic job. I was really fortunate to be able to find this group. So all of a sudden, our 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo that we bought for here was now a 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo that was worth here, right? At my job, things started to improve, and I thought, man, we want to build a home. So we bought a lot, started building a home. Now, having been in real estate a little bit, having got involved and done some other deals between the time I bought the condo and by the time we were building the home that we really wanted to live in, I had learned a few things. So the home that we were building, I had built inside of that a basement apartment, 2-bedroom, 1-bath that I could rent out. It had a separate entrance through the garage, a locked door that went into our primary residence. So it was completely separate from our residence. So when we moved into our new home, not only did I rent out the condo that I had, which was now a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I was renting it out for a lot more than I was paying my mortgage, but I also had people paying me $600 a month. And that might seem like a little bit of money, but given the fact it was 18, 19 years ago, $600 was paying about 1/3 of my mortgage in a nice home that I had. And so between that and the condo, my mortgage payment on the home that my wife and I had loved, kind of our dream home, was about half of what we were paying. So if we were paying, say, $2,500 in mortgage payment on our home, about $1,200 of that was being paid for by the condo and by the basement apartment. And so residential real estate can be really creative if you understand these concepts. So what are some other strategies when it comes to residential real estate if you don't have a lot of money? One of those that I really like is Airbnb arbitrage. So what Airbnb arbitrage is that you find a home or a condo or townhome, whatever it might be, that you get under contract for yourself as a long-term rental, right? Let's say that you get under contract for 12 months, 24 months, and you're gonna pay X amount of dollars every month as if you were gonna live there. Now, there might be stipulations. You really need to find out whether you can do that or can't do that, right? Because the goal behind Airbnb arbitrage is then to take that long-term rental and rent it out short-term as a vacation rental or as a short-term rental. That means that you're gonna be paying nightly rates or coming into you while you pay the long-term mortgage. So just to look at a quick numbers, let's say that your rent's $2,000 a month, but let's say you can at least rent out, 20 nights at $200 a night, you'd have $4,000 coming in. Now there are expenses associated with that, right? You're paying $2,000 for rent and you've got turnover every so often where you're paying a cleaner, there's some repairs, some things you're doing. So you can definitely make money that way. That requires very little money down from you. Now you do have a deposit that you have to put down and you're on the hook to make those monthly rent payments every single month. But if you're renting it out nightly and you're filling at least 60%, 66% of those nights with short-term rentals on average, you're gonna make good money doing that with Airbnb arbitrage. Now, why would a landlord even consider doing that? Well, one reason they would is because you're gonna guarantee to them that it is gonna be cleaned multiple times a month. It's gonna look nice, presentable, because in order to rent it out as a short-term rental, it has to look nice, has to look clean. So Airbnb arbitrage can benefit both the landlord and you as the long-term tenant renting it out to short-term tenants. Another option is lease options. Now, if you're the individual who wants to buy a home, but maybe you don't have the funds right now, a lease option to buy can be a great tool or strategy for you. Essentially what you're doing here is you're going to the landlord, say, listen, or a potential seller saying, I want to buy your home. But what I need to do is rent it for the first 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. And they might not have other options. That might be a great thing for them to do, especially in today's economy. So you negotiate on the rental price, you can negotiate on the term, and you can even negotiate that a certain percentage of your rent every month is going to be counted towards your down payment when you buy that property, because a lease option to buy gives you the option to buy that property at a certain date down the road that's already determined. The other neat thing about that is if it's a year, 2 years down the road, the value of that property might have gone up, but you have it under contract for here when the current value might be here. It might not be much. You at least have something now that you're buying for less than it's worth. So a lease option to buy is another great strategy if you don't have a lot of money to invest in residential real estate. Another couple ways that can be good, really good strategies when it comes to residential real estate is wholesaling and flipping. Wholesaling, essentially, you're using software, you're using different techniques and strategies, driving for dollars, going around and looking for properties that might look distressed and trying to get those properties under contract at a very low price, right? So wholesale versus retail. Retail price is here, but you find the right property and you negotiate to get it under a wholesale price. If you do that, you have options then to flip that contract or buy that property, do a few things, fix and flip to fix it up, and then flip it again. That is a great strategy, and many of my friends, many people I know, employ the strategy month after month and make a great living doing it. I met one individual, he's young, didn't have a ton of experience in real estate. He was probably 21, 22 years old, but he was ambitious and he's a hard worker. And that's what he did. That's what he does full time now. And it gives him the freedom to do whatever he wants, live wherever he wants, because he's able to go in. He has a strategy where he uses software to find properties that are distressed. He goes and gets them under a wholesale price, and he'll either buy those, fix and flip them, or he'll get them under contract and assign or flip that contract to somebody else. So residential real estate really is very diverse in the opportunities that it gives you as a real estate investor to make money, and one of the best asset classes out there when it comes to real estate. Now, these are my experiences with residential real estate. I'd love to hear your experiences. So please comment below, let me know what you've done, or you might have some ideas that even contradict what I've seen. And I love that. I love some feedback, positive feedback, negative feedback, and we can have an interesting dialogue. So thanks again for visiting. And as always, I've got a free gift for you, Aaron's free training. Click on the link below. It's a short-term rental calculator that when you enter in the information, it spits out to you whether that short-term rental is a good deal or not. Thanks again. Have an awesome day.